Right, today I'm joined by the one and only Colby Covington. He should be fighting for the welterweight title pretty soon. One of the top contenders, one of the best fighters, and Donald Trump's favorite fighter. Colby, thanks for your time, man. How we doing?
Hey, what's up, my brother? Thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure to talk to the king of London, the king of the UK, my man, Michael Bisping.
There we go. Well, thank you very much. Let's just start with this real quick. Leon Edwards, obviously you were there back in summer in London. You were the backup fighter. Since then, there's been a lot of talk. You know, you're still the front runner. You're supposed to be fighting. Dana alluded to that in the last day or two as well on the Madison Square Garden card. What is the situation? What's the score with that?
Yeah, the situation is Leon Edwards Scissorhands is still hiding from me. Apparently, you know, he knows I'm a lot tougher challenge than I even think of him. You know, if it was so easy, I think he would have came out and he would have already tried to defend already. But, you know, what I have to ask you, you know, Michael, is back in your career, could you imagine being offered a home date in front of your home fans and turning it down and saying that they don't deserve that? I mean, dude, Michael, the UFC tried to give filet mignon to the UK fans because the UK fans are so passionate and such great fans. And Leon said, no. You're shit. You deserve shit sandwich. You get a fight night event. You don't get a pay-per-view world title fight, mega fight, you know? So it's sorry. You know, I wonder what the people of UK are saying about Leon Edwards in the streets right now, because I guarantee it's not good. You know, the guy's a coward. He's out there ducking. He's hiding. He's looking for any excuse not to fight. And, you know, his time's about up. You know, he's going to be forced to have to come out here and fight, or, you know, or worse things will happen. He'll get stripped.
Well, as I said, the rumor is Madison Square Garden. I'm sure you know more about that. There's nothing official yet, so you know we won't talk about that date. But on that main event, that's that's Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. I mean, what a fight card that would be to be. They're saying it's going to be a co-main event. I mean, how would you feel about that?
I mean, you know, let's be honest. Let's talk about the facts, Michael. You know, is Jon Jones going to be willing to share a card with his former college roommate who knows all his dirty secrets, all the skeletons are in his closet? I beg that he's going over to the UFC right now and he's telling him, yo, I'm not sharing a card with Colby. I will refuse to fight here. So the only way I see that fight happening is we know Jon's unpredictable. We know he might go sniff some white girls, kind of like Joe Biden. So, you know, he's not to be relied on. He might get pulled off the card and we might have to come save the day and be the main event. So, you know, the real question that we need to be asking him is, was Jon Jones on the client list of Epstein Island? Honestly, Michael, I want to know this. Mike, there's no way to confirm that he wasn't on it. There wasn't any way to confirm that he wasn't on it. I just want to know the truth. Was Jon Jones on Epstein Island?
We'll get right on it. I mean, that is hilarious. Jesus Christ, you never failed to make me laugh. My God. Let's just assume that fight goes down, though, and you're both on that card, right? As you just did there, as you have done many times. I mean, you know, you don't pull your punches, shall we say, when it comes to Jon Jones. What do you think that moment would be like? If you're both backstage, do you think security they would make an effort to keep you apart from one another?
Yeah, I think it would be electric. And I think the fans deserve to see that. That's who we fight for. It's not about the judges, not about the ref. It's about the fans. It's about putting on the biggest and most electric fights for the fans. So the people want to see us on the press conference stage. Everybody knows I got questions to ask Jon. Michael, you probably didn't know this, but I know this from being roommates from him. You should ask him about the time he hit someone with a baseball bat.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I wasn't there. We'll say alleged.
It's facts. You know, I know all the skeletons in his closet. So for these reasons, Jon Jones does not want to be painted in a bad light. So he's not going to share a card with me. I think the only way we get Madison Square Garden Bisping is, you know, if we're headlining it because Jon has to pull out again because he's sniffing some white girls like Joe Biden.
So all jokes aside, then you think that Jon would strongly suggest it, or just say outright to the UFC, no, I'm not sharing a card with this guy. I don't want him talking shit. I don't like him. I don't respect him. And I don't want him coming out with outlandish things at the press conference.
Yeah, a little birdie told me, Michael, that he went to behind, you know, backstage with the suits and the big dogs at the UFC and said, hey, he refuses to share a card with me. So, you know, they're going to give him what he wants. You know, they don't want to ruin their New York show, and they're hoping that he still shows up. But, they need a backup plan. He's not reliable. I'm the ultimate company man. When I say and I give my word to the UFC that I'm showing up, I'm showing up. I've never, ever pulled out of one fight. I always am the ultimate, professional. And that's what I do best. So the UFC knows they can rely on me. That's why I'm in this position. And, it sucks that Jon doesn't want to share a car. It wouldn't even be talking shit, Mike. It'd just be talking truth. Like, if you can't handle the truth in today's society, then, man, go get a safe space.
We'll get to the fight with Leon in a second, and I'm curious to know your approach. But, when you say you don't pull out, granted, you don't. But the schedule, Colby, you've only had 4 fights in the last 4 years. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, of course there's a reason for that, Michael. Let's look at the facts. They're trying to line up big fights. One guy's refusing to fight. They tried to set that up for a few months. The next fight that was offered was a guy that couldn't make weight, and he was an unprofessional bum. So how is that unfold to me? Michael, I wouldn't be in this position if I was turning down fights or if I wasn't the one that was not making fights happen. I'm the one that's been ready to fight the whole time. I was willing to fight either guy in London on a moment's notice, within 2 days' notice. So it's not my fault other guys fell apart, couldn't make weight, unprofessional, other guys scared, talked a big game behind closed doors. Oh, it's on site with Colby, this and that. But when it came time to actually get in the case, he didn't want to get embarrassed. So that's not my fault. That's out of my control, Mike.
All right. So let's just say the fight goes down, whether or not it's Madison Square Garden. Leon Edwards, obviously he's the champion now, knocked out Kamaru, defended the belt against Kamaru once again in July. How do you approach this fight, Colby? How do you get the job done?
Yeah, just doing what I do best, Mike. I love pressure. The bigger the pressure, the better that I do. So the high intensity, that I bring to the table, everybody knows I'm the cardio king. I don't get tired in there. So I just think that I can chain together my mixed martial arts game better than anybody in the world right now. And it's going to set up some mega fights after I win that world title. I don't know if Leon's going to want a rematch after I'm done with him in this fight, but if he does, I'll solidify myself and I will defend that title against him. There's always the Usman fight again. I've already beat him 2 times, one time by referee fucking me. And the second time everybody knew I won by the fans. I knew I won in New York. So that fight's there. This little Mongoloid at 55, Makhachev's been running a big mouth. So, he wants to come get smoked. He's going to get his ass whooped too. So, there's a lot of big fights that are to make after I get this title. But man, Leon needs to come out here and defend Michael. He acts like he's the best in the world. Come prove it. You've beaten one guy. Now it's a different style matchup. Let's see how you style match up with America's champ.
What did you think of the performance against Kamaru? The one in July when he defended the belt against him?
The second fight,
or what did you think of Kamaru?
Yeah. I mean, the first fight, Usman had that locked up. It was his fight to lose and give away, and that's what happened. He got caught by a fluke head kick in the last round, and he was stunned. And after that fight, you could tell he's not the same person, Mike. His drive's not the same. His hunger is just. You get knocked out. I don't know. I've never been knocked out unconscious like that. But when you get knocked out unconscious like that, I got to imagine that it kills your confidence. So it didn't look like a confident guy in there, but, it still looked like a guy that did enough to win. But, it was anybody's decision. It was up to the judges that night. And we know how unpredictable judges can be. So, it looked like Usman, lost a step and, the fire's completely gone from him anymore.
Yeah. I mean, getting knocked out, I've been there. It does, it takes some coming back from. And that was a vicious knockout. When I was knocked out, my next fight, I was very nervous. I was maybe gun shy throughout the training camp, but I wasn't facing the guy that knocked me out. And even then, when I did rematch Dan Henderson, when was that? Jesus Christ, we're talking 7 years later. Maybe even, 7 years later. Even then, on the day, I still had a little bit of, I won't say trauma because that's not the word. I was just laying in bed thinking, shit, now I'm stepping back in an octagon with this guy again. Last time I did, I got knocked out in front of the world. So, yeah, you're right. Maybe there was a little bit of, I don't know, what did they call it? Gun-shy skeletons in the closet. Regardless. Recently, I partnered with a company called Legacy Precious Metals. Now, I know a lot of people are going through tough times right now, but if you are fortunate enough to where you have a few dollars left over every month to think about investing, then maybe investing in gold and silver through Legacy Precious Metals might be for you. Now, the stock market, if you follow that stuff, it's all over the place. In fact, it's plummeting right now. But precious metals, they've always held their value or even increased. So, of course, that's something that we're all interested in. Does it have to be a lot of money? It can just be a little bit because it all adds up over time. Now, if you click the link, there is a guide there. He'll tell you all about investing in gold and silver, or you can give him a call and they will answer all of your questions at 866-933-0317. So let's assume, for the record, and don't go after me, all you UK fans out there, let's just assume you go out there, you beat Leon Edwards. Who would you want to defend against first?
I'm the ultimate company man, Mike. So what I love about the company and the brand of the UFC, it's the biggest and best promotion in the world. They put on the biggest and best fights that pay-per-view has to offer and the world has to offer. So whatever route the company wants to go, Mike, then that's the fight that I want to go. I want to give the fans and the company what they want and their money's worth. So whatever they sit down and they look at and they say, hey, this is the biggest numbers that we can do. This is the biggest and best fight that we can put together. I'm going to be all on board for. I take all comers. The UFC knows that. Never said no to one fight. Always been ready for every single fight that's been offered. And I'm ready to fight the biggest and best fighters in the world. I'm in my prime right now, Michael, and I've made a lot of gains while people haven't seen me. Maybe, you think I just been sitting on the couch. Okay, yeah, we'll see when I get locked in that octagon what I've been doing since my time off, because I'm a very extremely motivated, blue-collar, all-American working man. And, it just so happens that, not only am I going to get my title, but election season's coming up right for Donald Trump. So it's kind of funny how the universe works.
We'll get to that in a little bit because I wanted to ask you a couple of things about that. But do you keep up with the sport, Colby? Would you say you're a fan? Do you watch most events?
No, I can't say that. Honestly speaking, Mike, I have a very busy life. I'm doing a lot of things, and I'm very passionate about a lot of other things in my life, other crafts and arts and things hobbies I like to do. So, sometimes the big fights, I'll sit down, I'll watch it one weekend, but, I'm not watching every fight night every week. That's just, not my lifestyle. I'd rather, my big thing, Mike, is I like to have a little balance in my life. And when I'm not fighting, sometimes I just kind of want to separate my life and have a different, here's the person, the human that's, enjoying his weekend and enjoying his life and not so just sucked into the world that is mixed martial arts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes you need a break from it. You got to step away, give you a clear head. So what are the hobbies? What does Colby Covington like to do when he's not punching people in the face, taking them down? What are we talking? A little arts and crafts? You're a little artist. I mean, you're learning to play the piano. What are we talking here, Colby?
I'm very passionate about giving back time to our first responders here in America. Our law enforcement officers. I visit a lot of different law enforcement cities, offices to pay respects to our real heroes that sacrifice every day to keep law and order in our country. So I'm very passionate about, giving back and donating some of the things I've learned and giving it to, our first responders that are fighting for us every single day. And then, on top of that, I love poker. I'm very poker oriented and passionate about poker and trying to be a two-sport world champion. I think that would be a great history and a great feat to be able to conquer two different sports at the same time.
I know absolutely nothing about poker. I don't know how to play, but I'm happy because I've got enough vices in my life. The last thing I need is a serious gambling problem. You talked about giving back there, Colby. One guy, I had him on my podcast recently, Themba Garimbo. He speaks about you so highly, how much you've helped him and all the rest of it. Talk to me about that friendship and how that kind of came together.
Yeah, Themba's a great guy, man. He's been a great sense of positivity in our gym, and it just shows things in perspective. People are complaining about little things, and then you see a guy like Themba who came from Zimbabwe and he had nothing. He's living in like shelters and mud piles for his way of living, and he's not complaining. He's just smiling. He's just happy to be alive and thankful, and just has a different perspective on life. So I tell a lot of the people, I use him as an example that, hey man, look at this guy. He's here in America chasing his dreams, not complaining, not fucking making excuses. He's out there working hard every day. And, it's just a pleasure to work alongside him, man. I'm happy for the platform that he's getting with the Rock stuff. And I'm excited to see how his journey unfolds from here on out.
Yeah, no, you're talking truth there, because everyone wants to be a victim these days. Certainly this new generation. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, what do you think of the state of things? I mean, you're talking about it there. People like to complain and all the rest of it. The world is a different place these days. As I said, people like to complain. You got to be careful what you say. People are all looking to be offended at the drop of a hat. What do you think of all this modern world we live in today?
Oh man, It's disgusting. It's a lot of wokeism. It's this soft soy boy mentality. Oh, it's okay for men to go to women's sports and play in women's sports. It's okay. It's okay to have a safe space and have feelings. Oh, you can't say mean words to people, even if they're the truth. You can't say mean words because then you'll hurt someone's feelings. So, and then the cancel culture is just disgusting. People are saying facts. Why did we hide Hunter Biden's laptop? Why was that hidden from Twitter? Like, that was truth and facts. Why did we hide Hunter Biden's laptop? So, I got questions that I want answered, Mike, just like Jon Jones' laptop. What is on Jon Jones' laptop? Did he attend Epstein Island or did he not? Because there's no way to confirm. Did he or did he not?
We're going to get CNN on the job. They'll find out.
They will find out. I know the truth about Jon Jones. I went to college with him. I know that he graduated with a degree in piece of shit, and he was on the honor roll for being a piece of shit. So
You're on fire today, man. You're on fire. What was that like, though? Because I know you guys used to be buddies. Where did it all go sour?
It all went sour when, he started doing steroids to bulk up. So his mood swings and all the stuff he was putting in his body was affecting his emotions. And he just he had mood swings and he would literally just be bipolar. One day he would be completely fine and we were best friends. The next day he would just be like, oh, Colby, your shoes are messed up wrong. Why did you not put them perfectly in the corner? I'm like, bro, it's just my shoes. What's the big deal, man? And I'm like, we've been tighter than that and closer than that for long enough. The shoes and so just his mood swings, Mike. He went through a mood swing, and then not even that, Mike. Look at the big piece of shit that he is. I mean, his last felony, he's beating up his wife, left his wife a bloody mess in that hotel, and went to jail. This guy's a dirtbag, hitting a Bentley with 2 hookers in the back, hitting a pregnant lady at a stop sign, and then fleeing the scene with drugs. It's just countless thing after thing, failing steroid tests. The truth is the truth, Michael, and I don't have any skeletons in my closet. That guy's a dirtbag, and I want the world to see it. I don't want him to be painting it in a good light because he's not a God-fearing man. The guy's he's an evil spirit.
What do you think about that fight with Stipe? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are, I hope Stipe comes out and puts on a great performance, does good for all the firefighters and gives all the first responders in this country hope and faith. But we have to see, he's a little older now, not to disrespect. He's a great fighter. He did great things in the sport. I mean, he's probably the best heavyweight of all time, without a doubt right now. But, we got to see which Stipe comes back, Mike. Some guys, they come back and fight when, their time is past. But, I'm excited to see, has his time passed or does he still have it?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Let me ask you about this because it drives me crazy, right? You're a guy that's built, you've worked your ass off to get yourself to this point. Most guys in the UFC all have, boxers really do, but there's this new generation, there's this new fad, there's KSI, the Dylan Dennis, the Jake fucking Paul, right? What do you think of this whole, I don't know, what do you think of these guys? Did you see the Nate Diaz fight with Jake Paul as well?
No, I didn't pay attention. But I will tell you one thing, Michael. That is a bold-faced lie, them saying that Nate Diaz made $20 million. I guarantee I'll bet every dollar in my bank account. Okay, that's like me saying, Mike, hey, guess what, Mike? My last fight with George, I made $100 million. Hey, I said it. It's true, yeah. Right, Mike? It's true. I made $100 million. There's no draw. People are not that interested in these Showtime gimmick fights. They're gimmick fights. They're character fights. These guys can't really fight. They're, most of the time, Jake Pauls are just paying people to take dives. He has all that money from the Disney World and from his brother and family. So he's got that privileged lifestyle where he can pay people off to take dives. And we know how people act with money these days, Mike. They'll do anything for $1.
Yeah. You're 35 years old. What is the future for Colby Covington? Assuming you go out there, you beat Leon. I mean, have you thought about that? How many more fights you want to have? Retirement? I mean, is that too far away to even think about?
Yeah, Mike, I feel literally in my prime right now, physically, mentally. I've taken good care of my body. I don't party. I don't go out and drink. That's just not my lifestyle. My lifestyle is I'm a dedicated martial artist to my craft. So, I know I have the best years ahead of me. My body, I've taken such good care of it. So, I haven't really thought like that. I just think one fight at a time right now. If I'm focused on Leon. If I have to handle him in the rematch and prove it back to back with him, then I'm ready to do that. And so, but I do think kind of about the future, and I'm very passionate. I want to go into politics one day. I'm a fighter in the cage, but now I want to go be a fighter for the people. I want to be a fighter as a public servant that serving the people, and is not going to be bought out, because I can't be bought out. I made enough money from the UFC that I don't need to be bought out. So I won't sell my soul, and I want to go fight for the people in the political world.
As I said, we'll get to that in just a second. Welterweight division, there's a lot of up-and-comers. We've got Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Ian Gary's on this weekend. Conor McGregor is also talking about fighting at 170 pounds. I'm assuming that is a fight that you would more than welcome.
I mean, if the UFC sees that fight as being the top fight that they can put in the welterweight division for a world title, then of course I'm going to entertain that. Connor's, every time Conor comes around, you never know what you're going to get with Conor. No one thought he was going to knock Jose Aldo out in 9 seconds. He went out there and did it. So, Conor's unpredictable. He's the biggest draw the sport has. So, I love the work he's done, but so of course I'd love to fight him, but, I don't need to fight him. It's not going to solidify my legacy. I'm beating champion after champion. Literally, I beat every champion that's been a champion for the last decade since GSP. So, like that fight, if he wants it and he comes back and starts with someone or wants that fight, let's do it. Let's do the biggest and best business the UFC can do, because I'm a company man and I want to deliver the fights the UFC wants.
All right. Somebody asked me I put a tweet out and said, who's got some questions for Colby? Somebody said this. I thought this was funny. You can only have one. Win the welterweight title against Leon Edwards, or Donald Trump wins the election. Which one are we choosing, Colby?
Donald Trump winning the election. Of course. Because I could lose, a decision that, I didn't rightfully lose. But as long as the fans know that who the best fighter in the world is, that's what's important to me. I want to give the fans what they want, and they pay their hard-earned money to watch us. So these fights are about the fans. They're not about anything else than giving the fans the biggest and best fights they want. Just like you did. You turned around, fought in your home country, fought on 2-3 months' notice. You were fighting back to back to back, defend. I mean, you're a warrior. You're one of the greatest fighters of all time because of you just went out there and put it all on the line. You weren't afraid. You didn't sit out for 8 months like Leon, sit out for 14 months when he waited for his first title shot after he beat Nate Diaz. And then now he wants to sit out another 8-9 months. So, and rob his fans of a pay-per-view in UK. So, Michael Bisping is the king of London and the king of the UK, and that'll never change.
Well, that's Leon Edwards right now. Otherwise, they're going to come after me. I've got to say it. You mentioned the British fans were offered filet mignon. Okay. You didn't have the best things to say about British food.
Hey, I had to keep it honest, though. The British food, I don't know about if it's the cattle or if it's the meat that they get over there. It tastes like processed, and it wasn't good quality. Like we have in America. We have what's it called? It's called Wagyu. Like Wagyu A5, Japanese Wagyu, and that's
I'm gonna say that's Japanese.
Yeah, we order it from there, but I don't know. The food was a little off. I love the people. The people are amazing. The sights, the history there in the UK and in London is amazing, Mike. That's why I want to go defend my title in the UK after I beat Leon, because that place is amazing. I love seeing all the history, the castle, everything you guys have over there is it's amazing.
Yeah. I will say this, and I'll get disowned for saying this. The food out here in the States, I got to say, it is better. It is better. Okay, don't unsubscribe, everybody. I'm saying it as it is. Simple as that. Right. So in your mind, I know you're training. I messaged you the other day, said, I'm training, blah, 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 blah. What date are you training for, or when do you think this fight will happen?
Yeah, the date that I'm training for is every single day, Michael. I've stayed ready. I've been ready on a moment's notice. I love to fight. It's literally my favorite thing to do on earth is go out there and put it all on the line and feel that adrenaline, feel that arena, feel the electricity that goes through those things, and go out there and fight with every ounce of passion in your soul. So, I'm ready on a moment's notice. Whenever the UFC wants to make it happen, if anything falls through on any of their upcoming pay-per-view main events, Colby Chaos Covington's ready to save the day. I don't think Leon Edwards Scissorhand is, but I mean, what is Leon? Because he's an idiot. He's a dumb fuck. The guy didn't graduate middle school, so You know, you can tell the guy, the fumbling, mumbling idiot, and he didn't freaking, you know, do his studying and homework when he was a kid.
I'm only laughing because, like, you've taken time out of your day to come and do an interview, so I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm laughing because people are going to say, look at Bisping, just letting Colby say whatever he wants, but that's how it works. That's how it goes. When did this start, Colby, for you, this competitiveness, this urge? I'm assuming it was wrestling at school?
Yeah, you know, as soon as I started wrestling as a kid, I got bullied, man. I had people picking on me. And so that competitive nature was from not wanting to ever be picked on ever again. I said, hey, you know, I don't want any bully to ever think that they can come up to me and invade my privacy and be able to control me. You know, I want to be the best fighter and the best, you know, sportsman in the world. So just that competitive nature led me to just the room, the training room. And, you know, it's helped me have a work ethic of training twice a day my whole entire life. I don't know any other way. So I still love it just as much as I did when I was a little kid. I probably love it more now because now I have a lot more haters and doubters and people that tell me that they think they know what I'm capable of doing. So, you know, I have a lot of proving right of myself and proving wrong to the world. And all these basement little nerds, all the little basement freaking fake journalists, they don't even have journalism degrees. They're in their mom's basement. They're fanboys of the sport. The only reason they go to the sport is because they get free tickets and they're fanboys. I never get tickets to see their sport. They get tickets to see me and my sport. So, and they want to degrade me and talk shit like they know, you know, what I'm capable of and what I've accomplished in my career. So, you know, I can't wait to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great fight. I look forward to it. I hate to bring up Jon Jones again, but he's such a big name in the sport. When you two were at college, and I'm not looking for gossip or drama, anything like that, but were you both, because you were roommates, you were both wrestlers, did you both at the same time have conversations about being in the UFC when you were older?
We definitely talked about it a little bit. That was honestly when we were kind of first introduced to jiu-jitsu. Like after wrestling practice, there was a kid on our team, Joe Soto. He was another roommate that was in the same apartment as us. We had a 2-bedroom apartment, and me and John shared a room, and Joe Soto shared a room with another kid from New Jersey. But Joe had been doing jiu-jitsu in California, and after wrestling practice at Iowa Central, we would stay after wrestling practice and just do grappling rolls and jiu-jitsu rolls just for like an hour, just to get an extra sweat and just the extra, you know, different type of workout that was dynamic and kind of helped us with our wrestling because it helped our scrambling abilities and other things. So that's kind of when we were first introduced to it. And then I think seeing some of the pro fights in town, like we all were like, man, we could beat these guys. We can compete at the highest level. So I think that's where we all realized that, hey, wrestling, like college, like there's nowhere to go after there. There's no financial gain after college with all this wrestling experience. So if you want to make a good life for yourself, you have to go down this fighting route, and that's the rest is history.
So how long was it from when you left college or quit wrestling? How long until your first professional MMA fight?
Yeah, my first professional MMA fight was about 1 year after I finished college.
Yeah,
it was right away, and the biggest thing about it was I'd moved to Florida at the time, and Florida's law over here is you have to do 5 amateur fights before you can go pro. So I didn't want to do 5 amateur fights. I was like, no, I want to go pro right away. So I had to go back home to Oregon and fight my professional debut. And I went out there and finished the guy, you know, TKO'd him in the first round. And you know, there the MMA journey started.
There it is. All right, let's end on this then. Leon Edwards, what is the biggest threat that he possesses to you?
Probably just him trying to tell me what he's going to do to me. You know, if he was so confident in doing this, Michael, he would have came out here and done it already. I mean, I think he sees a lot of fear. He knows what's coming and what's ahead of him and what he has on his plate. So I'm not really worried about anything he does. I'm just worried about if he's going to show up or not, Michael.
Head kicks?
No, I keep my hands high. You know, my style is, you know, I'm not worried about the head kicks. Yeah, that was a fluke head kick against Usman. So we'll see. Now he's got America's champ. He's in for a long night. You better pack a lunch, Michael.
Well, listen, I'm looking forward to it. You're one of the best promoters in the game. Colby, I thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Can't wait for the fight. And once again, all the best. Thank you very much.
All the best. Thank you, Michael.